Hey YouTube, how's it going? I just wanted to jump on real quick here and let you guys know that it's actually been 4 years since we moved to Canada. It's a massive milestone that we've finally achieved. October marks 4 years since 2021, which is when we got on that plane and decided to move our lives over here to Canada. And what a process it's been, and what an experience. You know, when I think about everything that we've been through and all of the preparation that was done even before we got here. I think the first conversation was back in 2019, and then there's a bunch of research that goes into it to understand the process. And moving here, I mostly did it, all the paperwork and everything, on my own. I had some help with some friends along the way, people that have done it before, so I reached out to them, and we managed to make the move in 2021 because before that was all the lockdown stuff, so there was nothing that was going to happen before that anyway. So we managed to move, and we moved in October, and it was I remember the day we landed, it was the first day that everyone told us the cold had started. So it was going into our first Canadian winter, which was very different, I would say. Mostly it's comparable to England. If you're going into sort of November and December, it's actually quite comparable. It's only really January, February, and maybe half of March that it really feels different, because it's, you're not going to get minus 10, 15, 20 degrees, sometimes minus 25 even, when you have the real cold snap over a couple of days. So that was an experience. And so I remember having to go out to buy a proper winter jacket, with the down feathers and all that sort of stuff, and high quality material and everything. And you can buy that stuff here, guys. It's relatively cheap. If you go to affordable places, you can go to outlet malls where you find branded stuff. But yeah, winter is something that you don't want to take lightly. I remember receiving some advice, because I'm British, and when you meet other British people out here, you pick up on the accent straight away, so you get inquisitive, you ask questions. And a lot of them said just don't cheap out on getting your winter gear, so get your winter gear right. So that was all really interesting, going out and experiencing some of the big stores. You go to Canadian Tires, and you get all this. It's just bizarre, some of the stuff that you compare it with, coming to from England, where the windscreen washer is at maximum minus 10, and here when I went out to buy it, it was something like minus 45, which you never see in England. So it's just the smallest things that really catch you off as a new experiences being in Canada. Not that it's ever been minus 45, but they obviously take it into consideration, so the parts in your car don't freeze up. But those are just some small details. And we arrived on a 2-year work permit, really. So it was the working holiday visa, and that gave us 2 years sort of work permit. We came into Canada, and honestly, the clock starts ticking from the day that you land. And so we landed, and whether you like it or not, you're working towards your future goals in Canada. And at that point, the first year you write it off, because you just don't know which direction you're going. You're getting pulled in every direction, and you're just trying to navigate all the changes in terms of how to deal with the people, the culture. People downtown are different to the people in the countryside. There's so many different scenarios and experiences that you'll deal with. Even see, the banking system's different. There's just small things that will catch you off guard, and they will add to the pressure of trying to move over. But it's all doable. The first 6 months to 12 months are a real roller coaster, I would say. Only in the second year, I feel like you get into a groove, and you might make some friends, and you know where the social life is, and where the downtown is, and you kind of you go out and explore some of the provincial parks. So you kind of get a bearing for yourself in the second year, and you get into a rhythm, and you really start enjoying it more in the second year. Now I'm sort of in my mid 30s here, so I didn't really pursue a a study permit route, I should say. I didn't really go for that. I know a lot of people that have done it. I've had friends that have done it. Obviously, all the international students that are here are doing that. But we went from sort of a 2-year work permit, then I switched over to an LMIA, which is a labour market impact assessment, and that's really for you're part of the Canadian jobs market when you do one of those. So I did that. That gave me another work permit that I moved on to, and from there we sort of were eligible for applying for the permanent residence, and that I've made a whole separate video for because it's a whole different experience. And we finally actually became permanent residents just a couple of months back, and we received a physical card, I would say about a month ago, which is again a massive milestone. We've managed to wrap it all up in 4 years of being here. People have done it much faster than that, depending on your age and your circumstances, I would say. I think the scenario that it played out for us, that's how it worked out. A lot of people land as permanent residents. That was a big thing over the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know how easy it is to do that anymore. In hindsight, if I look back, I maybe would have tried to do that route to come to Canada, but I didn't, you know. And we went the work permit route for 2 years, and then another 2 years, and now we're here, permanent residents, all done and dusted. And that was our route. That was what worked for us. It's going to be different for everyone depending on your circumstances. And so yeah, we've made a go at it, and I can honestly say that, you know, I feel like there's just some things that are really great here in Canada that edge out ahead of the United Kingdom. You know, I'm British. I'll always love where I come from. You know, I'm born and raised British. My family are all there. But there's just something here and we live in Toronto, and you know, I have explored a lot of Ontario, to be fair, all the smaller cities that surround the GTA. I've managed to, you know, take the car out and get out to some of those places. But honestly, there's just, I don't know what it is. Like, for example, today, you know, we're in the middle of October. It's a bright, you know, autumn day. And I know a lot of my friends and family, it's raining in England, it's grey already, and you know, it's turned down, and it's still bright and blue here, and it's like this, it stays like this for days on end. Then we'll get a bit of rain, and then it clears up, and then we're back to blue skies again for another 3 or 4 days in a row. And then, so the weather's very predictable here, which is great. So you can prepare accordingly. But you know, it's been a fantastic 4 years. It's been tough too. I won't lie. Anyone that's thinking about moving over, I think it's all possible. It all depends on what you really want. I think if you really want it, go out and get it. That way you're not living in regret or looking back at life in regrets. But you got to lock in for the ride. That's one thing I will tell you. It's not easy. What makes it easy, to be brutally honest, is having a great salary. Maybe that will make things a bit easier, but I don't think it's the only thing really, because there's so much other things you know, if you're moving away from family, if there's anything like that really. So you got to take all those things into consideration, and that having a good financial setup will help, I think. But to be honest, it's Toronto, and to tell the truth, it's very expensive. It's getting more expensive in every aspect, I would say. It's you can probably tell from just a bit of my body language here. Like it's a hustle, and you gotta lock in for the ride, and you gotta push yourself. You gotta do jobs that you don't want to do. You gotta get yourself out there. You gotta be prepared for North American type of work, which is really different, I think, to British, the way British people work and British offices operate, and the culture and stuff like that. It's very different in both good and bad ways. So there's a lot to chew on when you arrive, but after 4 years, I can honestly say that, you know, I think we're in a good spot. I think life will get better because we've gone through the difficult part, which is all the immigration and being new, and I can finally say, you know, we're permanent residents of Canada. Canada on a whole, I feel like it's in a really precarious position and a moment in its history. There's obviously a lot of migration that's happened over the last 5 years. A lot of international students that have arrived, and things like the housing markets in a bit of a crisis. It's in a weird, odd position. I feel like in 10 years we may look back and laugh about it, or we may even be even worse off, and that's just telling the truth, to be honest, because I don't see how the housing market's gonna have a massive decline or a crash, because that will affect obviously the Canadian economy directly. I just don't see that happening. There's resets, you know, it levels out and then it climbs up again. So it's a very precarious time for Canada, I think, and especially the sentiment towards immigration. Unfortunately, you know, we all have social media and we see the comments and see what people post, and it's unfortunate, to be honest. It's not really the migrants' issue. They had the opportunity to move to a country. They've taken the opportunity, and I don't think that they've been welcomed, or they haven't made themselves welcome. You know, when people arrive in literally the millions, it's overwhelming for not just the system or the locals. It's just generally overwhelming for the whole country. It's odd because I'm not really part of that immigration wave. I'm not a student. I'm not working in Tim Hortons, and I'm not part of the people that are commenting or making comments or putting videos on social media for that kind of stuff. I guess, you know, it's a little bit different for me. I came here on a work visa. I'm a Canadian permanent resident. I've just worked since I've been here. I've never even been part of the student category. So I can, if it's hard to look forward, no one has vision into the future to see what it's all going to be like. But it's super odd. I think immigration has tapered off quite a lot. I've seen the stats all over the internet where this is, I think, the first year where students are coming in less and less. So let's see what the future holds for the country. But I think, honestly, if you keep your head down and work and get through it, you don't even have to pay attention to that stuff, especially if you're not part of it, to be honest. Just stay focused, keep pushing, do what you have to do for success in terms of having, you know, a positive move in immigration to a new country, and everything else you just turn a blind eye to, because it's, you know, just stay away from it, stay away from the negative energy, I guess. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to come on because it's been 4 years, and I know this video's gone on a bit, and I can talk about so many different scenarios about moving to Canada and all the different things that have happened, and it's been a good shot at it. And I think, you know, this is somewhere that we can probably call home. We don't know exactly where yet. We still live in Toronto, near the Midtown downtown area, so we don't know where or how or when, because we've just been focused on immigration for these last 3 or 4 years, and now we're out the other end of it. We can start sort of planning and looking forwards and looking ahead at everything, and just generally see where life takes us now. I think, to be honest, it's been a mental ride, so we're just looking forward to the end of the year and Christmas, and, you know, being with family and friends and all that sort of stuff, and then we'll just start the new year from the new year and make a plan of where we're going to go to next. But yeah, no, it's been a great run so far, and a lot of the people I've met have been fantastic in this country, absolutely awesome. And especially when they meet me, they love asking questions of why we've moved and how we think about it and what we feel. So it's been absolutely awesome, and I'm looking forward to however or whatever happens next. You know, there's a lot to look forward to and to plan and really sort of map out for the future. But if you're watching this video, and most of you probably signed off by now, but and you're thinking about moving, or you've thought about it, or you want to improve your future or your life, and you feel like maybe there's a part of the world that will do that for you, then go for it. Don't wait. Live your life. Do what you need to do. Make the best out of it, and that way you'll never look back in regret. And that's kind of where my mindset is. But anyway, guys, look, it was just supposed to be a quick video. Like I said, I can talk for ages about all the different topics and aspects of migration and moving over, but I'll save them for the next video, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.